He hadn't asked to be traded. There was a time before the draft where, as they were haggling over what he is worth, his agent was given permission to see if other teams would pay him what he was looking for. And at the time, it was $28 million a year. It's probably higher than that now because the market's changed. I'm told there were 5 teams that were ready to go and give him what he wanted, what the 49ers wouldn't give him. But they couldn't work out a deal with the 49ers for a trade. And, from the 49ers perspective, this is where it gets a little screwy. You've got 5 other teams that were willing to pay him what he wants and give you something to get him. Why won't you just pay him what he wants? So he's taken the stand now. He's asked to be traded. We'll see if he shows up for camp. But one thing about the 49ers, we've seen guys, you got to be the squeaky wheel to get paid. You got to be Deebo Samuel, demand to be traded for weeks, and you get paid. Nick Bosa, hold out until right before the start of the season. You get paid. I think Aiyuk is shifting into, I'm done being a nice guy here because that didn't give me anything. I'm going to start agitating to either get the contract I deserve or get traded to a team that'll pay me. I think one thing we can all agree on, $14.1 million is criminally low for a guy who was a second-team All-Pro, second in the league in yards per target. He had 1,300-plus receiving yards on only 105 targets last year. Imagine what he could do if he was getting the ball thrown his way 180 times like CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, and Florio, 81% of his catches were either for a first down or a touchdown. I mean, so it's just like very important catches as well. So not only like distance, time, able to create space, seemingly a perfect fit for Brock Purdy. And Purdy's a dog. All these highlights showcasing Aiyuk showcases even more that Brock Purdy is also criminally underrated and underpaid in this entire thing. But this time with this rookie quarterback is when you can spend money everywhere. San Fran has seemingly already done that. You talked about this guy. You just rattled through a couple guys that held out and had some things. San Fran's paid a lot of people. You don't think they're just waiting to see if Pearsall is a guy and then they can let Aiyuk hit the market? What do you think they ultimately end up doing here?
I think what they would have liked to have done is hold everyone in place for one more year. Because next year they got to pay Brock Purdy. Next year it's probably goodbye to Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. Maybe Trent Williams moves on after this year. They wanted to hold this nucleus together and give it one more run at trying to get that Super Bowl win that they've been unable to get under Kyle Shanahan. And as long as Aiyuk's willing to take $14.1 million per year or for this year, then it works. But when he says, no, wait a minute, 14-1, no, the market's 35 now. I'm not taking 14-1. I want my contract now. That's what's keeping it from happening. And I think at some point they need to consider, and I don't know that they'll do this, but there was some chatter before the draft about the Steelers maybe trading for Deebo. At some point, maybe if you're the 49ers, you say, okay, Aiyuk's forcing us to make our choice now. Maybe we trade Deebo and pay Aiyuk. I wouldn't rule that out as a possibility because it was a possibility before the draft. Maybe it's something that could still happen.
That would be such a Niners move that we have drama with this guy, not with this guy. But we do have to make a play here, so we'll get rid of and then we'll bring in, just like they had Jimmy G. We bring it up. They had Jimmy G on a different field in training camp. They celebrated the Jimmy G era being over. Like they even ran a clip, everything, it's over. And then he ends up back playing meaningful minutes. It's like they have an ability to deal with the drama somehow over there in San Fran. Every good team's going to have to do that. Speaking of teams that aren't good but want to become good, we're learning a lot about. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Florio, going off the Aiyuk situation, we kind of got something a little bit similar with the Giants and the Hard Knocks clips we've seen about, them not wanting to deal kind of with the public backlash of the Saquon Barkley situation. When you look at all those clips that are coming out from the Giants, is it kind of inevitable that we're looking at them just kind of blowing everything up at the end of this season, Shane being gone, Dable, and obviously Daniel Jones? Or how do you kind of parse through everything that we're seeing on there?
Somebody asked me earlier today if it looks like the Giants handled Saquon and his contract properly. And my position is we won't know until we see what he does this year with the Eagles. If he tears it up, if he has 2,000 yards from scrimmage, if the Eagles get to the Super Bowl and win it, and he's a key piece, then the Giants are going to get killed for this. If he doesn't perform, if he doesn't earn that contract he got from the Eagles, then the Giants look good. So I think a lot of it comes down to how the Giants perform this year and how Saquon and the Eagles perform. It's just another factor for them to worry about as they get through this season. And I think it could go very badly for Brian Daboll, for Joe Schoen. You've got Bill Belichick lurking out there. There's talk of the Cowboys and the Eagles being the top two teams. Well, if I'm the Giants, let me get in on this too, because the Giants are the one team of the three that he'd most prefer to coach, I believe, based on things we've heard in the past and his history with the Giants, 2 Super Bowl wins as a defensive coordinator there. So I think it could go sideways for the Giants, and all this stuff that's being put out there for us to consume and evaluate and talk about, that's not good for the Giants. This Hard Knocks off season is great for us.
Great.
I don't think it's good for the Giants to have all this stuff out there.
Hey, this is like that Tom Brady roast, I think, Florio. Like, I think the Tom Brady roast was so good, you're never going to get anybody that's at Tom Brady level to agree to do it. You know, like, I think it's going to be a while. I think it's going to be another generation. Somebody's going to not be told what happened with Tom Brady. Somebody's going to forget what happened with Tom Brady. They'll sign up for it, and then it's just like, for us, great.
Yeah.
It is absolutely great. This Hard Knocks, I think it's going to be a tough sell to teams for the offseason going forward. Legitimate. I absolutely love it. But, man, we're seeing a lot. Like, we are seeing a lot of stuff in there. And you got to think a lot of teams are looking around like, do we want our brainstorm idea, opinions, when we're trying to figure out what we want to do out there? Because we kind of look like we got no real idea what the fuck we're doing. Like, there is some of those situations, but, like, is that just a common conversation that's taking place during the season because they're trying to get to the right direction? It's like, this is our first time seeing it, so I have no idea, but I think it's going to be tough to get people to sign up for this in the future.
There's no gain for the team that's doing it. You can only lose. And think about it. The episodes are coming out during the month. Look, they're coming out during the month when you otherwise would be relaxing and resting and away from everything. So instead, they got to deal with all the scrutiny and the blowback. You're criticizing players. You're just letting things out there that every team deals with that we otherwise don't have access to. It makes no sense for the Giants to do this. But you know what? People are watching it. It's doing well. HBO is going to want it. The NFL is going to want it. So they're just going to, every year, they're going to tap somebody on the shoulder and say, you get the short straw this year. And the owners collectively are in for that. They don't want to do it individually, but collectively they want the money that comes from it.